Hi all, and welcome to Forewarned, Forearmed. Today's episode we're going to go over what I'd like to call list creation for the French. The reason why I'm doing this is because next year's Australian Nationals is fast approaching. Yes, I know it's close to about 7 months away, but this is the time I actually start doing a lot of my list prepping for these types of events because I want to get used to finding my list, looking at the right balance for my list, and at least get some games in to practice some all the way up until that event. So at least that way I know my army, I know what I'm doing, I have no issues that I can think of that may be an issue for me, such as T55 spam, Heinz, etc. First off, I would like to shout out to you all. Thank you very much for your support. We've reached over 150 subscribers. This is great. This is wonderful. Thank you very much. However, if you want to see more content, please share it with your friends and get them to like and subscribe as well so I can make more content for you. Alright, jumping straight in. So, generally Nationals in Australia is about 100 points. So, this is the French list that I've come up with. It's got two formations. You've got the AMX-10 Mech Infantry formation and the VBL formation. These are my two main formations. I've also chucked in a little bit of support, which is the 2 Mephisto Hot, which has been upgraded to Hot 2, some DCA for the AA, and the 120mm mortars. I'll go over why I've chose these and that, and especially with the support lists, because I know a lot of people, when it comes to French, they love the helicopters. I'm not a fan of helos at all, just for the pure fact, unless you're playing Soviets, yeah, great, because they can move and fire. They can do lots of damage from certain areas across the board, but when it comes to NATO helos, I just find that a lot of them are a waste of points that you can better spend elsewhere. So, first up I've got my AMX-10 formation. So I've picked up 3 teams, all with Milan upgrade, just Milan 1, I haven't got Milan 2. There's a reason for that. I've also chucked in 2 Leclercs, because that's going to be my reserves, along with a couple of my VBLs as well. So that'll be my reserves. So, second formation is my VBL squadron, which is got a grand total of quite a few formats in there, so I think it's about 7 platoons in there, plus the VBL Milan platoon, also not upgraded to Milan 1, upgraded to Milan 2. So the reason why I decided to do that is because at least I can get maximum points on the effect without having to upgrade, because at least I don't have to spend 5 points. That's 5 points where I could spend elsewhere. And in this case I did, which was the Mephisto is being upgraded to Hot 2, so that's 4 points, plus my AMX 10 for the mortars, which also upgraded, just so I can get a bit more ducker out there than having just 50 kills on my Vabs. So I'd rather have some anti-helo firepower, considering I'm very light on AA. So the reason why I chose small squads is because they're cheap. They're 4 points, 2 points to upgrade them with some Milans. That gives you a rock solid, 7 teams, so that's quite good for morale, especially considering French morale, where you're basically running on anything less than a 5. Now, I do love my French. I've played them previously. They are a great army to play. However, you've got to be smart about them. You've got to reserve their strengths, and then try to play to their strengths, and the biggest strength that the French have is AT, so for that reason that's why I went with the VBLs. I didn't want to upgrade the VBLs to Erics. I wanted them all with a peerless so I could move and shoot, especially from the fact that these guys, I want them to shoot and scoot a lot and blitz, just because of that pure 3+ skill. This is the reason why I've taken so many, so I can just fire off a couple shots, shoot scoot back into cover, and continuously do that. And if I need to move, I can move, 10 inches away, fire off a couple more shots with the peerless, and then keep going. At the same time, I've also got them, so if anything gets really close to my infantry, which I didn't upgrade with a peerless, I've got a peerless that, can't be pinned there as well. So that's the reason why I went with my peerless in the VBLs, because it's like, yeah, I could upgrade for 3 points, but at the same time, I was able to get a Milan section platoon for that from a VBL. So there's an extra 3, AT-21s reaching out to 36 inches that I'd rather have over the peerless in the infantry, which I think is a way more better use of their points. Now, most people look at this and go, well, that's a lot of two-man formations. Yes, that is, especially when you look at the Leclercs. 2 tanks, weighing in at quite a hefty price, of 18 points each. But if we have a look at them, they're great. They are great at what they do. And that is sniping from range and using their mobility to get the hell out of dodge. With a potential of 18 inches with the blitz, moving around, you're firing out to 48 inches, so you've got a massive threat range on these. You can basically castle up in a corner and then move from one area to another and just keep them snipering. They've got an AT-23 weapon. That's their primary role, is just sniping, getting rid of threats that I deem, high that I can't get any of my Mephistos onto, especially if they're going to be shooting on sides, because whatever they look at, they're going to delete. The Mephistos themselves, I love these guys. They're hammerhead, so the only problem is in the cross-check. So if you are in terrain, don't expect them to move, because if you are going to move them, you're going to fail that cross a lot of times, and it's very hard to get them out of there. So I did take 2, so that gives me 8. So yeah, that's 20 points, and this is why I find them better than taking 4 hot gazelles that are also upgraded, which would also be 20 points. I could get 8 for the price of 4. Yeah, they're still hunter killer. They're still susceptible to AA fire, so that's the biggest one. It's like, if I take the helos, they don't get to shoot until after they shoot, so there's a possibility I could lose helos. Whereas with my Mephistos, they're going to shoot first. I don't have to worry about, them really getting damaged as such, because they're still going to be hidden in cover and still going to be 6s to hit back, because they're going to be concealed and gone to ground because of that hammerhead rule, which is why I love them. And this is why I'll take them over helos any day of the week. The only helo that I would actually consider running is the 20mm gunsling gazelles for racing around, getting rid of artillery and enemy AA. I normally would run these as a combo with mirages, and they work perfectly well. That's the only way I'd actually run helos, and that's mostly with the French, especially with that gunsling gazelle. So that's my take on what I would probably look at for a competitive French list. Now, against T55 spam, it will struggle, but I think the main thing is I've got enough AT there to really mitigate a lot of the bigger stuff for T55 spam. I've just got to hammer each unit as it comes. I'd probably play very conservatively. I wouldn't go on the defense. I'd still use attack, so I can try to at least, hope for a meeting engagement and hope that, 40% is reserved for both of us. Because for me, that's only 2 VBLs and 1 Leclerc. So that's 3 units compared to maybe 3 or 4 or 5, maybe, depending on how many T55s he's got, or other units that he's all like min-maxed, which is common in T55 spam. So that's my take on a competitive French list. Please leave your comments below of what you think you would take for a nationals event, especially with the French. And if you do want to see more competitive lists, please also let me know, especially if you have another faction out there or another nation that you're thinking of trying to be competitive with and that you may think struggles competitively in these large events, and I'll have a look and see what we can do about that. Until next time, good hunting, and catch you later.